Thank you, Twan. Greetings, Douglas County. My name is Kelly Robinson, and welcome to the February 21st, 2023 Transportation Committee of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. We have a pretty full agenda, and I believe we have a quorum or even a full majority of our committee members. So as is our custom, we'll go around the room. We're going to audibly acknowledge who we are, that we're present, so it can be codified for the official record. Again, my name is Kelly Robinson. I am chair of the committee.
Ramona Jackson Jones, the vice chair of the committee.
Frederick Perry, deputy county administrator.
Tiffany Stewart Stanley, assistant county administrator.
Ron Roberts, Connect Douglas.
Salaman Rana, Douglas DOT.
Is Heath out there?
Heath Coward, Public Works. Yes, sir. Sorry.
All right, no problem. All right, that means we got a full house. All committee members are here and present who are voting. Do we have any support members out there? Is David Good or procurement out there? Anyone?
David Good's here. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. All right, Deputy Director Rana. Now let's go ahead and get into our official order of business, which should be the meeting minutes. But I'll let you take the lead. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, committee chair and madam chair and committee members. The first action item is approval of the minutes. That includes January transportation meeting and the special call transportation meeting from January as well.
Very good. I make a motion to approve meeting minutes as presented by Deputy Director.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and we got a second. Any questions? Because we had two official meetings, and one was a special call and one where we actually made reference or a voting of our list for the spots. We want to go ahead and vote for the record that we acknowledge those meeting minutes, that they're official. So Kelly Robinson, I vote yes.
Ramona Jackson Jones, yes.
Frederick Perry, yes.
Tiffany Stewart Stanley, yes.
Salaman Rana, yes.
Heath
Ron
Coward,
Roberts, yes.
I got you both. I heard you guys. You're good. Coward and Ron Roberts both voted yes. All right, that's unanimous for the adoption and approval of the meeting minutes from last month. Very good. Thank you all. Next one. Go right ahead, Deputy.
Great. So the first agenda item is transit updates. For that, I'll hand it over to Director Ron Roberts.
Thank you, Suleiman. Hey, commissioners. Good to see you all today. We have, I have a short list of items to just share, and Rachel Hatcher from RS&H is also on here. From our end, from the staff end, we've been getting information over to RS&H on their drive that they share. A lot of that's come from GIS, so that they can start working on existing conditions. We've just been getting data over to them, which we're very fortunate that some of this was already accumulated from Ed and GIS for the comp plan update. So we've been pulling from that, plus the items that they've requested from us that is transit specific. So I was going to let Rachel do an update, and also under the same agenda item, if it'd be the privy of the committee, that Danielle is also on here to do a brief update on the outreach efforts. So I'll just let Rachel weigh in at this point on where we are with the transit master plan.
That'll be fine. Just hopefully we've set expectations. Keep it tight. But Rachel, you've got the floor.
Yes, sir. We'll keep it very tight. Thank you for the opportunity to give you an update today. We have been busy in the background, setting the project up and performing project management activities. All of your sub-consultants are now under contract. You have 4 sub-consultants, so you got a lot of expertise working on this project. We have also begun developing graphic standards. A fact sheet has been developed and provided to Mr. Roberts as well as to Ms. Cherry Hoover for circulation during other activities to make sure that the information is being provided to the community, what to expect, when to expect it, and where to find additional information. Those graphic standards will be repeated throughout. So if you do receive an agenda or a technical memo, they will all be branded in this specific way so that folks can understand that these are all part of a larger process. We have, as Ron said, been doing extensive data collection and have developed your framework and your outline for your existing conditions analysis, and that's well underway. So we've begun mapping and performance analyzing the system, and we have begun identifying your peer agencies. So your key performance indicators will come from that data. That will be a very important first step in identifying the health of the system and how it's comparing to its peers, while we start to roll out the public and stakeholder engagement exercise, which will be launching in the next couple of weeks. So we'll have public workshops, we'll have public information pop-ups, and we're also going to have a commissioners workshop and stakeholders workshop. So those will all begin rolling out in the next month. And we'll also have surveys and onboard data collection occurring in that timeframe as well. So the spring is going to be very active. At the end of the May timeframe, we will have all the data processed and analyzed. We'll have significant amount of feedback from the public as well as stakeholders about the existing conditions of the system as well as the future goals, and we'll start moving into the synthesis of development of recommendations. So the next several months are going to be really heavy in public and stakeholder engagement as well as that independent technical review of your system. So in your next meeting, you should start to see a lot of dates and items being scheduled as well as invitations for several of you to participate in various committees. So I appreciate that, and I'll offer an opportunity for questions.
Thank you, Rachel, for that. Look, we need to frame that right there. That's how you get in and get out. Very good. I got it. But here's some things I heard out of that specifically. So it's going to take you, what, 60 days? You're going to have 90 days worth of public engagement basically before you get to the synthesis? Is that what I heard?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you got 6 days. And how long will the synthesis take, the next stage? How long will that take?
That takes us approximately 2 months to complete, but we will also have another opportunity for input and engagement. So we develop draft materials, and then we go back out to stakeholders and the public and say, is this what you meant? And then we synthesize the feedback that we get from that for final recommendations. So we expect all of the meat and potatoes to be ready around the June timeframe, input from the community and stakeholders again, and final recommendations in October, November timeframe.
Gotcha. All right. So it's just not sort of a one-time and a bang, but you have sort of an iteration. You at least
Yes,
give a midpoint feedback. All right, got it. Very good. I understand what you're doing. I'm good. I'm encouraged. Committee members, any questions? All right, we won't push it. Thank you, Rachel. Well done. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Ron, you finished?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anybody else? You said Danielle Hoover Cherry's out there?
She is. She's sent me over a couple slide decks, and she just wanted to update the transportation subcommittee on the outreach efforts that they've been performing.
Great.
Hello and good morning or good afternoon, everyone. How are you? I am going to briefly share my screen and please let me know when you do see it.
See it.
Great. So I am going to go through, as Ron said, just some brief updates where we are to date. Some good news. 12 consecutive months of fixed bus ridership growth. So we're talking about February 22nd through January of 2023. There's been some great growth over the course of the past year. And mind you, we're comping, we last talked about 21 versus 22, and now we have data for 22 to month by month for 23, and then of course going into the wonderful data coming with this transit study. So that's a 70% ridership increase January this time last year, which you see in a visual right here. So just for ridership standards, and please Ron chime in as you see fit. We're off to a great jump. So almost 2,100 people riding in the month of January on the fixed bus route. And that's 10, 20, 30, and 40. One high level KPI or recommendations we've been tossing around with Connect Douglas We've had several intensive meetings internally, and this is a recommended list from Director Roberts from those meetings, as he just mentioned. And the ones highlighted will fall under that public engagement opportunity. So fixed bus ridership, as we just mentioned, knowing, okay, what we put out in the marketplace, what's working, what's not, and comparing that month over month and now year over year. Passio Go downloads, that is the opportunity to track my bus on mobile and digital devices, including the desktop. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Google. The connectdouglas.com webpage. So that's in collaboration with the Douglas County Communications team, grabbing that information. And then customer service. So when the the bus service started in 2019, we did some surveys throughout from then to date. So now is an opportunity to continue what that level of customer service looks like, even throughout the comp plan. And of course, in collaboration with all that is going on with a comp plan in the next upcoming months. The others that you see listed are operational. 2022 highlights. Some of those customer service opportunities are phone calls, website click links, searches, directions. People who are actively searching and looking for Connect Douglas, we can see that and compare, including social media. Instagram seems to be the big draw out of the two, with 810 followers to date. So we have a wonderful opportunity, both boots on ground and digital, to promote the comp plan and hopefully gain some valuable data to citizens who are engaging with Connect Douglas currently. And this was a KPI that was not mentioned last meeting. We gathered this from the third-party bus operator Transitions, and that's Passio Go. That is the tracking system, like I've mentioned before, track your bus. So there's about 500 plus total users. In 2022, as you see here, it was over 200 new users. And this is on all smart devices as well, meaning iOS, Android. So if you have an Apple phone or if you have a Droid, Passio Go, you can still track the bus and download it on Google Play or Apple App Store, including the web as well. One thing that we, from 2022 that we saw, the peak usage time that you see there. So there's some good data currently, and that we can share and build upon with the current comp plan. Into Q1, just wanted to give some updates. We're underway with that Go Local campaign. And again, all of these opportunities and strategies can piggyback off of visibility, branding, and getting feedback from our residents, business owners, and riders. So the Go Local campaign, highlighting and hitting the small businesses on each of the routes. So we're currently getting buy-in from a lot of the small business owners to future promote comp plan, gather feedback, and continue to add visibility about the ridership, about the routes. A couple things I want to quickly highlight with branding and support. The ADA paratransit vehicles, now there's an opportunity to brand those. So is another opportunity for those who are riding that service, meaning that third-party operator who are picking up the residents, will now have, mind you, this is just a mock-up on their vehicles. And that is in conjunction with the mobility coordinator over Connect Douglas. So she's doing a great job of assisting with that. One thing of note too is the fixed bus signage now is color coordinated by routes, and that is currently going up on all of the fixed bus routes, bus stop signs. There's I believe 110 plus different bus stop signs that are color coordinated with each route, and you'll have more information about that, including visuals and our updated video. Other opportunities, testimonials are underway. We did about 12 to 15 video testimonials last year. That went really well in conjunction with the communications department. So thank you to them again for that. Promo items. So we're done inventory, geared up and ready to go for all of the community engagement that is going to be underway over the next several months. And then obviously ongoing support. So we're lining things up. Did the DBE, and thank you again for allowing Connect Douglas to participate. That was a fantastic event last month and hopefully garnered a couple of other new ADA paratransit riders. So we had about 15 or so different contacts just from that event. So upcoming spring fair just in Q1, and we're on par to do about 10 different community activities and events and initiatives just in Q1 or early Q2. With that, I say thank you and pause for any questions.
Thank you so much for that. And again, I appreciate the evolution of our presentations and the data that you're beginning to provide, because that's going to be key to our future as a county overall, is the maturity of how we look at stuff. I mean, this is going to be a constant theme this year. It's about the data. We can't make decisions without data. These committee meetings are about helping the full board of commissioners make decisions, right? So we need data, great stories, but without the data, I mean, how you tie that back to data that ties back to an outcome, an objective and stuff. So Daniel, thank you so much. You've done great. I was hearing what I needed to hear. And I think as we evolve through this, as our consultant from RSH, I think they're probably still on the line as well, said, okay, but out of this should come a set of KPIs that ties you back. I'm great, we're spending all this money. It's great about to get this plus done, but it's got to be able to accomplish something that moves us forward to an overall strategic plan that Madam Chair has already cast and the board has adopted. So there's an alignment of all these things. We've got a strategic plan that's across the board, but we also need to have our transportation plan aligned with that. There needs to be common language, common metrics. All of this, it can't be disparate. It can't be siloed. It's out the gate. All right, guys, we got to standardize this. How do we communicate? How do we use data month over month, year over year? Like, oh, now we cooking. Now we cooking. Well done, Danielle. I mean, that type of language, right? There's just a lot of it, I'm sure it's just us putting a demand on the system, or even that we have the expectation. It's not that it wasn't there. It's just, it's really the end users, which is we are the leaders. So therefore we have to put a demand on it. So thank you both organizations. We were in Washington, DC, obviously recently, a bunch of us, and I had a chance to obviously hear different things regarding economic development, transportation for the National Association of County Officials annual conference. And I bumped into some of our regional colleagues, especially over in Cobb County. I'm the chair of Cobb County. And so having great conversations about regionalism. Again, one more time, not operating in a silo. Yo, this is what we're working on. Hey, FYI. And so again, I hope our stakeholders go beyond just our four walls, that we are part of a bigger universe. Stay in your lane, but recognize there are touch points. There are alignments that need to come down the pipe. So I'm hoping that the stakeholders is a little bit more extended beyond just inside Douglas, because again, we are part of a bigger region. All right, let me keep this going. Any questions for any one of these committee members? Madam Chair, you okay?
No questions, just comments. Very,
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, both presentations were right on point. So thank you for providing data that's critical, as you mentioned earlier, Chairman of the committee. So I appreciate our participants providing, or everybody that's on this call providing data, because that's the only way we can drive decisions. So thank you. That's all I have. Nothing else.
Yes, ma'am. All right, guys, we got to keep this moving. So Ron Roberts, Director, you're good for now. Great update. Thank you for having the team here. Let's keep that going.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All righty. Deputy Director Ron, next up.
Yes, sir. Next item is Public Works updates, and the first item is LMIG resurfacing.
Right. Director Cowell, come
All
on.
right. Can everybody see me?
No, but I can hear you.
Yeah,
I'm
can't
good.
see you either.
I'm good.
You don't need to see me. I got you. Yeah. Hey, so the update for the 2022 LMIG paving is we're to 89%. Weather is, really just giving it to us over the last month or so, and as soon as it dries up, it hits us again. But that is our current status, 89%. We're currently at Kings Highway, Rice Street, and Berwyn Drive. And we have the mowing and litter pickup. The DOC will be voting on that tonight. So after today, we'll know yes or no on that, and move forward with that contract underway. We have the materials bids. All three of those are got active purchase orders on them now, so they have been approved and are ready for use. And we have Brightview, who is doing the I-20 landscape and the cutting. They have been continuing with the landscape, throughout the winter. So there's no change there. Still doing a good job. Still being inspected, and everything's looking good. What I brought yesterday to the work session would be for Yellowstone for doing the county mowing and cutting. The only difference we have on this contract from the one last year was that we actually gained 2 cycles, kept the same price, and it extends our service time. So we're going from April to November now. So that's good, because we were starting off behind last year. Pending any questions, those are all the updates I have.
I appreciate that, Director Carver. And I really do appreciate, since you taken over this component. Obviously this was something that was always dear to my heart. You've shown a commitment to it. I mean, I'm beginning, Madam Chairman. I'm like, every time he gives us an update, all right, he got it. He's into it. He knows exactly where everything is at any given moment. So I appreciate those small things. He's able to track it. He knows where his team is out in the field. So I know what you draw upon and how you see things, man. I really appreciate that. Which brings me to my point, which is when it comes to we get you said a longer. So we went from 6 to 8, and then get longer time during the day, a longer, whatever you call it, season.
Extended range, yes, sir.
Yeah, range for the same amount of price. So what do you think? Either are they that more efficient now?
No, sir. It's not the same price. It's the same price per cycle.
Oh,
so
per cycle.
Yes.
There we go. Not on cost. It's per cycle. Got you.
Yeah, we added 2 cycles, so we paid for it. However, it was sold into the my pitch for the budget, and approved it, so we are covered.
Yep. I just want to make sure I heard that right. Where they're more efficient, we're going to get less service out of that. So like, ooh, are they?
You're about to get me on that one. I know.
See, there you go. All right, then you're good. You ain't got to say anything else to me. Committee members, Madam Chair, any questions for him? All right.
No questions.
All right, Director Howard. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you. All right. Deputy Rana, back on you, sir.
Mr. Robinson, if I could.
Oh, yes. Go ahead, Director.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment on this. This is big for the county. As we all know, Madam Chair is one of her top priorities is litter pickup, keeping the county beautiful and clean. And this will go a long way in accomplishing that. Very, appreciative of the Board of Commissioners moving it from 6 cycles to 8. Hopeful that as we move forward, we can possibly increase it even more to help our efforts to to keep the county clean and keep trash off of our streets. Douglas County is we're growing, and we're much better than what we're showing right now in terms of litter in our respective areas. So just wanted to emphasize that, Commissioner, that this is big for us, and it's big for our keep the county clean efforts. So thank you all for that. Just a comment, no questions.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to keep moving. Deputy Rana, keep going.
Yes, sir. The next item was transfer station, but Heath, are we good on that?
Yep.
Should we? Okay. All right. So the next item is Lee Road at I-20 landscape efforts. This was a project that started at end of last year, where we're supplementing the landscape on Lee Road interchange. With us, we have representatives of HRC, who is the designer of this project. I have Daryl Ray, who is the Vice President of HRC, and Sam Kanamar, who is the project manager for this project, and they'll be doing a brief presentation and giving us some updates there.
Right, gentlemen, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Like Suleiman said, my name is Sam, project manager here at HRC. Daryl's our vice president, and we are both registered landscape architects. So we've got a little presentation today. I'll share my screen. Let's see. So we're going to present our conceptual design for the I-20 at Lee Road supplemental landscape enhancements, and why we think these improvements are necessary. Just to familiarize everyone, this is the Lee Road interchange at I-20. You can see from this aerial image some of the landscape enhancements that have already been installed from our plans back in 2020. We appreciate the board and Douglas County giving us the opportunity to continue with this project and add some more landscaping out here. We use this aerial image and site visits and some drone images all to help prepare our plans. So I'll show you some of those. Here's the first couple of drone images, and really with this project, we created two major goals that we think will improve the Lee Road interchange. These goals are going to apply to 3 of the 4 quadrants. Those would be the northeast and northwest quadrants, and then also the southwest quadrant. I'll reiterate all this to you with some plan graphics in a second. Our first goal applies to 3 of those 4, and it's really to provide more height in the landscape, more vertical elements going through these landscaped areas. We think that the vertical elements will strengthen the appeal and interest of these while folks are passing by. We believe the necessity of tall elements is due to the fact that vehicles will travel pretty fast past these, and these elements can provide more of an anchor to the landscape as users will go by. The next goal, these apply to the northeast and southwest quadrants, is to create a more immersive experience when people travel by, and really that's to pull the landscaping down these slopes a bit and kind of pull it closer to the travel lane so that as people pass by, they feel like they're actually in it and taking a part of what they're going through. The southwest quadrant, the southeast quadrant appears to have achieved the right balance of these two. So at this time, we're proposing no supplemental landscaping in this area. We think that it's already achieved that pretty well. So here's what I was speaking about, the quadrants as we named these. So we're going to show you proposed improvements to northwest, northeast, and the southwest. This image here is an overlay of the aerial image with our design plans that we prepared back in 2020 originally. And then next is our proposed landscaping at this time. You can see by it's more bold and it's got all the color affixed to it. What we're really trying to do, and we'll dive into some more up close images right after this, but we're really trying to add trees throughout and around these landscape beds, while we're also adding additional shrubs to help pull these beds and the feel down the slope closer to the travel lane. So next we're going to go to the northwest quadrant, which you can see is in the upper left. And this is what we're proposing right now. We've got a large area at the top of the slope that we believe when cars are traveling eastbound, this is one of the first things that catches their eye, is the top of where this old exit or entrance ramp used to be. And there's an opportunity there to add trees, add shrubs that really help fill the area. And like I said, it's the first thing people see when they're heading into Atlanta. And so it really stands to really catch their eye. For the northeast, we've got a mix of trees added within the existing landscaping, and we're also proposing trees and shrubs outside the current limits where it helps pull down that slope. This is an opportunity that we think would help create that immersive, up close feel as they're going by. We're proposing some, for the most part, 90% of these shrubs are the same species as what is existing out there today. It would just be an expansion of some of these beds, of some of these plant massings. However, we are going to propose one new shrub, the winged euonymus, that has a great red fall color that it will really do a great job at drawing attention to these areas up and down the slope as it kind of organically moves. And then we'll be, like I said, we'll be using some of the existing shrubs like junipers and blue stems, things of that nature, to expand some of these areas and to make them really anchor in. This is the southwest quadrant. This one is probably expanded the most from where the bed is today. You can see we're proposing a lot of large trees. All these trees that we've been proposing are canopy type shade trees that will really mature and get to a nice height in the middle of these plant beds and on the edges. The organic movement too of the red euonymus and purple loropetalum shrubs, it's very organic, and it will carry up and down this slope as a car will drive by going towards the city. It will really kind of meander up and down and have a cool feel about it. So really, we believe that we can achieve these better intrigue and better interest while we increase the amount of trees and shrubs in this area, pull them down the slope. And so really, I guess that's all I've got for my presentation. I think we've got some time for questions. And Daryl, if you'd like to say anything on here as well, feel free.
Yeah, I'll definitely open this up for questions with the committee and the commissioners. But again, I want to reiterate, appreciate the opportunity to work on this and help supplement this to make it give us that feel that we want everybody to have as they come through I-20 and through Douglas County.
Now, gentlemen, thank you so much for that presentation. I get it. Obviously, I'm listening to how you're describing. I want to ask just a couple of questions, and I think you hit on it. But from my perspective, obviously, this is my commission districts, and obviously, so I have a bias in it, but also a vested interest. So, as you mentioned, you're coming through I-20 toward Atlanta, right? Now, I get you're passing through. That's that one objective. Let you feel as you pass through, how you bring them in. Got it. And then there's those people who are getting off and who are getting on, who are in Douglas, right? So it's on, off, whatever. And so, I'm assuming that the goal is being accomplished both ways. The reason I say it is that the Lee Road, especially that Lee Road I-20, is going to be a key, or is a very key connector to our future regarding our east-west connector, that lower arc. And so, as people get off at Lee Road, and as we're expanding Lee Road, and as we're cutting all the way over to Chapel Hill, and as we begin to really reshape our county, this is an important element, no more than your front lawn and stuff. You got to have it right. You got to have it manicured. You got to have everything done. Now, I don't do what you guys do, but I can appreciate what you do. Are we going to be able to accomplish that? Do you see that as being a goal, or are we just putting nice trees out there? Is it being tied to the bigger vision of what we're about to do over there? Daryl, can you speak to that? I know you got some history. Can you speak to it?
Yes, sir. So it's my opinion, the way this is set up and the way we started out with our original designs, we're mostly in the areas where the old exit and entrances were,
Gotcha.
which kind of puts us up on top of the hill. So, so in other words, by being up there, you know, it is viewable from these exits and entrance ramps as you're on there. As we were looking at maybe some of the areas that needed to be filled was that's on, I guess, 2 of the quadrants, we had not brought the beds down towards I-20 as much, and that would be the south west and the northeast.
Yep.
So as you're actually out on I-20, you know this is going the other direction, but it's kind of where we were at as you were on I-20. You know, you couldn't see some of it because it was sitting up on those tops of the hills where the old exits were.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we did there. Now on the northwest entrance there, where you'd be going west, you know, what we felt like on that one was it had good coverage down the slope, but it was missing some on the top. And it, as you come through, you know, sometimes it just felt like you were looking up a canyon there. Well, part of that's because there's a big drainage area down that quadrant there that we're actually trying to stay out of so that we don't change any of the drainage patterns there. But by doing what we're doing, we've got those, we're going to add trees up on the high side of that one that we feel like could, that will make that view better. Now, you know, what we have not done and we have not approached, you know, is actually crossing over and being on the outside of these entrance ramps. You know, there's probably not a whole lot of room to do that on the southeast side, but the 3 other quadrants or areas, probably they could do that. But that's not where we moved our land, what we feel like it needs in there. But, you know, it's definitely something we could, you know, we could look at to actually put more landscaping around the actual, you know, right there where you're at the red lights and everything. But that's not really the direction we were going. But I definitely listened to what you guys are thinking might be, you know, what your ideas are there.
No, and I appreciate that. And again, I'm just engaging based on what I heard, and
Yes,
being
sir.
able to envision the whole area. Like, okay, but what about this area? And I'm not leaning it, Madam Chair, or taking it anywhere other than, okay, that's the scope of the assignment. Got it. Okay, but and again, hopefully you're going to stay with this and evolve it over time and be committed to it and being able to maintain this as we design it. So, and did it work out the way we intended and stuff? So that there's some maturing that's going to happen, some longevity versus you know, the Charlie Brown trees and the little bitty bushies. You know, you guys know what you're doing, but again, you get the feel of what we're trying to get to. But we're taking your guidance, your technical leadership on this. So I didn't have, it's not a criticism or anything like that. It was just more of an open inquiry as I talk about this and within my district about what's going on Lee Road and how we're doing and how we're enhancing and how it ties to Madam Chair's beautification. I just want to be able to give a fuller answer. So I'm fine, gentlemen, no issues. Madam Chair or committee members, I want to weigh in on this, please.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you again, Sam Kernemer, for presenting. Very good job. And then hello and nice seeing you, Mr. Ray, Darrell Ray.
And good to see you as well.
Good, and thank you for listening. When I called regarding this particular intersection, I like, you know, it was okay, and you heard my cry. And I indicated that I wanted a little more pomp and circumstance around that area, and you did just exactly what my vision, what I rolled out in terms of my vision. So thank you so much for just sharing how we could further enhance that area, because it makes a statement when you really get up in that Lee Road area, and you all have definitely, or you are making a statement as you continue to enhance this area. So I don't have any complaints. I just want to commend you for just listening to me on that particular area. And I know we talked about it one time funding, you know, that you have to Daryl and I heard you loud and clear when you said you have to pay to play. And, you know, we just didn't put a lot of funding in that particular area, in which I appreciate you saying you, in order to really give it that pristine look that I'm trying to achieve. You said it's going to take a little more. And I'm just so glad that the Board of Commissioners did allow me to come back to the table and ask for a little additional funding so we could make that statement along that Lee Road area. In fact, if you could, Mr. Ray could just tell them about the Sweetwater approach. When we first met, you said you wanted, because it's really a replica of Sweetwater. Can
Yes.
Share with the committee?
Yes, so when we were looking here at Lee Road, we know that this is, you know, what we know is the Sweetwater Creek State Park is the most visited state park in the state of Georgia. And that's a feather in all of our caps, you know, having that out there. And it's fun talking to people that are not from Douglas County or our area that talk about that they come out here to, you know, walk the trails and to kayak in the creek and all of those things and enjoy it. So anyway, so as we were working on our concepts for this interchange here, the idea was to try to replicate the Sweetwater Creek. And so what this has is there is a large band of junipers that we have planted that run through the middle of this landscape here that is a representation of the creek. And the juniper is like has a blue tint to it. It's the, you know, we put in so many and they were they're small, and these junipers grow and they spread out, but they stay as a low growth plant. I believe once those plants have the opportunity to start maturing and filling in, you know, as we take care of them, that we will be able to see through the years, see that concept of those low growing shrubs through the middle of this that have that blue tint to them, that'll you know, give us that representation that we were looking for through here.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Ray. So again, thank you all for taking it to the next level on that Lee Road exit. And it's looking really good now. When I pass by there, going back and forth to Atlanta and coming back from Atlanta, it looks really nice. So thank you so much.
Yeah, the maintenance folks are doing a great job of taking care of that. That was so key of getting those guys on board. And I mean, as soon as they picked it up, Brightview picked it up. I mean, it was just a few weeks within them getting a hold of it that it really started getting back in shape and looking good and something you can be proud of.
Yes. And thank you so much. And definitely beautification enhances economic development. It allows, it fosters the need for folks to really want to move here, shop here, and just do some fun things here in Douglas County. So thank you. Those gateways are just all the way from Thornton Road to Liberty Road are just making big statements, and particularly the one coming in from the, going east, coming in from Alabama. And when you look up on the hill and say that's a nice one too, with the welcome to Douglas County sign, and then the landscaping that's in that area as well. Post Road is looking good. So all of it is looking good. So thank you all for fulfilling the vision of beautification. And the citizens are making noise. They're excited. They said, we are so excited that our county has a different look, and we are unique. And you know when you have arrived in Douglas County now. So thank you so much.
All right, well stated. So, Mr. DCA, you hear me? I'm sure, man, y'all better get out there and make sure you get her flowers, man. This is important to her.
The spring is almost.
This is 6 years. Like, okay, y'all, man, that's her #1 priority. We still, like, Madam Chair, you should have a full force out there. But no, we're on the right track, and I'm excited to hear it. And I appreciate Del Ray and his team for making this come to pass. Because again, we got vested stakeholders that are here. Y'all know what we're trying to do. So you're right. I appreciate you saying how much it's going to cost. So the point is, all right, so for the record, so how much have we, I get what we're doing right here as far as the concept and the design for this, but what is our current budget now, and where do we need to go, Daryl? You don't have to put Madam Chair on the spot. We can hear from you. What do it take to get us where we get to go? This is a free shot. To get to her full vision, what do you think it would cost us?
Well, you know, so what we're working towards right now with this one is a $300,000 budget. So we want to make sure that we're coming in at that number with this enhancement. You know, as your question earlier, you could expand this thing where you come across and outside of these entrance ramps as well, but you could easily spend another $300,000, right?
Yep.
On these. But the big thing too for us is when we spread out and did the 4 intersections, we had a budget and we were able to hit that budget and make an impact on all 4 of those interchanges there. But we had to take some steps to make that happen. Some of that was to use some smaller plant material and be patient about that plant material growing and getting into its mature sizes and everything. So that's the balances that we'll be trying to take with this as well, but also trying to make sure that we're spending wisely and we are getting some impact when we do spend this additional here. But the sky's the limit, Commissioner Robinson. If you'll go out there and I'll go with you, we'll start raising some more money to get all of the other interchanges as well up to this one, because this is definitely the one that's got the majority of the landscaping with it on all of the different interchanges we've got. So we could expand, onto some of those others as well. So, man, I'd love to keep doing this over the next 10 years or so with you guys. Just keep adding to it.
All right, well, you only got 2 years with me, so I'll give you 2 years. That's all you got. So, Madam Chair, you're good. I mean, it sounds like you're at peace in what you're hearing. I'm fine with this. Committee members, are y'all fine? You're good with this? Good update, good presentation. Is there action that we need to take here on this concept, or was this just a presentation?
No action, Committee Chair, just an update for the committee members.
Very good. Madam Chair, are you okay?
I'm okay.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the presentation. We got to keep this meeting going.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Deputy Director Rada, please. Next item.
Yes, sir. So the next item is for Highway 5 at Douglas Boulevard right turn lane project. We have been in right-of-way acquisition phase on this project for a few months now. We've been working with the business owners involved with the acquisition process, and with the back and forth we've had, it's put us at about a 9 to 10 month mark, which means that our appraisal reports and the title reports are at expiry by next month. So at this time, to move this project forward, we're requesting this committee to approve appraisal services contract with BM&K that would help us renew our documents for right-of-way acquisition of this project.
All right. Before we get further into this, how do we select B&K? Were they on our list of how do we acquire? I mean, how do they get selected as the vendor record?
Right. So they fall under our RFQ 19-017, which is our on-call consultants for right-of-way services, and for them, they are the only approved or qualified right-of-way agents for appraisal services.
With this magnitude, got it. All right. I have no questions. Committee members, any questions on this? We can keep this moving, Madam Chair, but we have to give a formal recommendation.
No questions.
All right. All right, Deputy Director, make the formal recommendation. Now I'll call the question.
Yes. Make a recommendation to approve BM&K appraisal services contract in the amount of $30,700.
Okay, we've got a motion. Can I get a second for him?
Second.
All right, we do have an official second. Any further discussion? All right, I'll go ahead and call the question to approve the recommendation to the full Board of Commissioners for B&K to be the appraiser of record according to the RFQ as presented. I'll go around the room. Again, you have to state your name and your affirmation or your denial, just for the codified record because it's online. Kelly Robinson votes yes.
Ramona Jackson votes yes.
Frederick Perry, yes.
Tiffany Stewart Stanley, yes.
Suleiman Rana, yes.
Keith Cowart, yes.
Ron Roberts, yes.
All right, we got the unanimous passage and approval to accept the recommendation and send to the full Board of Commissioners. All right, well done. Next one up.
Thank you. So the next item is actually a briefing from Trust for Public Land. We have with us Walt Ray, who is the project director of Riverlands project. I'll let him present the details, but this is a multi-jurisdiction regional project that really brings in or reforms the trails of our state and especially our neighboring agencies. And with that, I'll hand it over to Walter for his presentation.
I appreciate that. Thank you for joining us today. Before I get started now, do we have a presentation from them recently or something? Did we talk about something?
Yes, sir. The grant that we're pursuing has a very aggressive deadline. Ideally, we'd have them present at the transportation meeting first and then take them to the VOC. On this one, we had to go the other way around, and we still wanted to bring them here for the committee meeting also, and that's why they're here today.
Well, that's fine. Formal of record. That's fine. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Great, thanks. I'd like to share my screen, but it says I cannot while someone else is.
Guys, help them out.
If I can stop sharing, and
okay,
that may help. Could you try now?
You should be seeing a slide deck.
Yes, sir, we can.
From the beginning. All right, that should be one slide, correct? All right, so thank you all for seeing us again. We really are here to ask for a letter of support for a grant that we're working on in partnership with City of Atlanta, Fulton County, Douglas County, Douglasville, and City of South Fulton. The Atlanta Regional Commission actually asked us to sort of champion this, and so we're trying to wrangle the cats, as it were. But the RAISE grant. Well, first of all, a little bit about TPL. I know that many of you know the organization, a nationwide nonprofit organization committed to Land for People, where we have health, equity, and climate. It's the three pillars of the work that we do. I think last time I might have mentioned we are a nationwide nonprofit. We've been around 50 years as of this year. Since then, we've completed 5,000 parks, trails, and schoolyards projects. We've generated over $84 billion in public funding, and we've added 3.7 million acres of public land to the public parks and green spaces. Our history in Georgia, we were very instrumental in starting the Atlanta Beltline. We have purchased, so we've actually had a focus on the Chattahoochee River for about 30 years. In that time, we preserved 18,000 acres and 80 miles of riverfront along the Chattahoochee. We actually started, the TPL board actually began the ML King National Historic Park. We actually bought the land and sort of forced the national park to the National Park Service to open this up as a National Historic Site. And we bought the first 2,200 acres of Cumberland Island. But really, we have always had a focus on the Chattahoochee in this office. And we did spend 2 years working with we partnered with the Atlanta Regional Commission, Cobb County, City of Atlanta in 2018. From 2018 to 2020, we spent 2 years doing a lot of public engagement, learning, between Beaufort Dam and Chattahoochee Bend State Park, how would this region like to interact with this river? And we called it the Riverlands before we knew what a riverland was. And this process helped us define the Riverlands as a greenway trail on one side of the river or the other, or both, on the Chattahoochee Bend State Park. A blueway trail, which of course is the river, but how do you get into and out of the river? How do you see it? How do you experience it from the banks? And then tributary trails that take people from where they live and work to the river. Combination of all those big ideas was the Riverlands. 2 years of study resulted in a master plan that looks like this on your screen right now. So the yellow line, the big yellow line that runs sort of east and west across right and left across the page, that is the proposed Chattahoochee Riverlands Main Stem Greenway Trail. That goes for 125 miles in this 100-mile study area, because sometimes it is on both sides. You got the tributary trails, which kind of usually sometimes follow creeks, sometimes follow old rail beds, sometimes follow utility corridors, but these connect to all the rooftops, right? So this is where people live. This is the river. Often those are divided from each other, right? So connecting people from where they live and work to where we hope that they will play and transport. And then the overlooks and the parks and the ecological restorations. And so this is what the plan looks like. There's 100 miles of this. Douglas County is kind of right in the heart of this. This is a little bit of a peek of what we think that looks like. So since we published a plan, we all, as a region, Douglas County was one of the 85 organizations working in lockstep with TPL and ARC and others on this plan. So we all collectively published this plan 2020, it was April of 2020. And since then, the Trust for Public Land has really dialed in on the 19 miles really from Peachtree Creek to Boundary Water Park in your Douglas County. We just recognized that the northern suburbs kind of had it, that Roswell's and the Sandy Springs and the Johns Creeks and Duluth of the area were going to build their section of the Riverlands and don't need a lot of necessary technical support or financial support. But if you look really south of Peachtree Creek, the river is already very hard to find. It doesn't have the momentum that the northern suburbs have. It doesn't have 6,000 acres of national park land, right? Much less the county parks. So from Peachtree Creek to Boundary Water Park, the river is very hard to find. It's very separated from the population that it serves. And so we wanted to sort of dive into this section more carefully when we start looking at implementation. We did focus on the initial, we call it the showcase site. So an opportunity to showcase what is a Chattahoochee Riverlands. We partnered with Cobb County, City of Smyrna, between Mapleton Parkway, which is Emerald King on the Fulton County side, and then up to I-285, which is just upstream from Veterans Memorial Parkway, Veterans Memorial Highway, or Donnelly Hollow Parkway. So 2.7 miles of river on the Cobb County and City of Smyrna side, fully built out trails, parks, green spaces. We have about 200 acres of parks being added to the system. First time ever access to the Chattahoochee River from this section of from South Cobb, but building the Greenway Trail as visioned and anchoring it with the parks and green spaces. We're on the hook for 18 million. We are, as of today, at about 17.5 of the way to our $18.15 million goal. Cobb County's been leveraging public funds, and so has City of Smyrna. So that project breaks ground next month. We're on a 5-year timeline. We're 2 years into that 5-year timeline. We break ground in the Smyrna and the Cobb County section between Nickajack Creek and Maxim Crane.
Just a point at this point. I can't see your slides move on the screen share, and I think it's very important we see the map on, especially this segment.
Yeah. So how do I see the map?
Or on your screen share, if you go to the slide that you're currently on.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. Still seeing the presenter's view, but
okay.
All right, this
work?
Should be good. Yes, this works.
All right, so presenter's view will work. Sorry about that. I didn't realize we weren't seeing that. You guys were probably a little bit bored through that then. But so this is the 19-mile segment really from Peachtree Creek to Boundary Water Park in Douglas County. There's a lot of public land already in play. We're working with Cobb on this section here, the Regional Trailhead Park, the Riverland Showcase site, this 2.9 miles. The city of Atlanta is working on the Atlanta Reach, really from from Project Creek upstream to Peachtree. So this section is getting worked on. This section is getting worked on. You know that Douglas County obviously is working on the Chattahoochee Hill Country Greenway that goes from Boundary Water Park up through to Sweetwater Creek State Park. But there's an 8-mile gap really between all this positive energy. Fulton County owns a lot of it as sewer, their sewer lines go through it. There are some private parcels, which we have some leads on, but really it's a really great opportunity to connect all the energy that you guys are working on with your 11 miles of Chattahoochee Hill Country Greenway, headed south, and Atlanta and Cobb's greenways up to the north. So filling this gap is this 8-mile, filling the hole in this 8-mile gap is what we're calling the RAISE grant section. We, Trust for Public Land, started reaching out back in really early January to to Atlanta, Fulton County, South Fulton, Douglasville, Douglas County to sort of pitch a collective application for a RAISE grant. We paid about $32,000 or $34,000 to Alta to help us as a region put together this RAISE grant application. We're requesting $6 million for a planning study to figure out what this line looks like. Site run survey, archaeological and environmental studies, designing trail alternative paths, the alternative alignments, engaging the public and you officials to figure out which is our collectively a preferred alignment, costing it out again to the 30% construction documents and getting through environmental. $6,000 study. TPL is on the hook for the $600,000 match. If we are successful in getting this grant awarded, we will be coming to all the jurisdictions to see if how we're going to cover that $600,000 match. But for now, we are on the the hook for that. And we're asking for a letter of support from the county to include in our February 28th grant application. We're going to upload it actually. The Atlanta Regional Commission, by the way, is the applicant. Trust Public Land cannot apply. We thought we were going to get the city of South Fulton would apply. I think you may have heard they've had some bumps in the road and some internal things that they need to work through. Atlanta Regional Commission stepped up and they are back up well. They are a great opportunity to apply, organization to apply. So they will be applying on Monday the 27th to make our Tuesday, a week from today, deadline. We've actually gotten support letters from City of Smyrna, Trust Public Land, Atlanta Beltline Inc., Atlanta Beltline Partnership, Senator Ossoff's office, City of Atlanta, Cobb County DOT, Maples Improvement Coalition, Representative David Scott's office, and the City of Douglasville. We have those letters of support, and we have some pending from y'all and Warnock and some others. So that is our request, and I'm happy to entertain any questions.
No, thank you for that. And I didn't know that the presentation was moving, but I was following you though. But I got it. I got it. So to the committee, Madam Chair, obviously this is something that's important. We've been working on this for quite some time. Obviously trails, and it's just the next iteration of that. And so again, we recognize that we did for public interest to Deputy Director Robin's point, we did do this process a little bit differently because of timing. So we want to acknowledge that. But we are making the formal presentation as it always should be within committees first for the full board commissioners. But I guess this is already, have we done the letter of certification already? Is it on tonight's agenda some kind of way? Or
Yes, sir. It's on the list for today.
All right, great. Madam Chair, I'm fine. No need to belabor this since it's on the agenda tonight. Do you have any questions, Madam Chair, or comments you want to make?
No comments or questions.
All right.
Very nice. Excited about the trails.
All right, so there's no letter, since this is already before the board, there's nothing that needs to come from the committee. Is that correct, Deputy Dorana?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
All right, then we're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna keep our agenda going since we'll see them tonight on the official floor. Sir, thank you for coming out and making the presentation.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, keep it moving. Well done. I like it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We'll just give it just a second so Walt can turn off his screen. There it is.
Thank you.
All right. That is actually a good segue into our next agenda item, which is to accept a supplemental project framework agreement with Georgia Department of Transportation. This project framework agreement was initially signed in 2014 with a total project amount of $1.6 million, with a federal match of $1.3 million and local contributions of $325,000. Along the way, this project has really reshaped the alignments and what the future needs are. And at this point, additional funds were needed to move this project along. Luckily, through TIP solicitations, we were awarded $3 million in additional federal funding. This comes with a $600,000 local match. And as a part of this process, we need to approve or sign this project framework agreement with GDOT to utilize those additional funds.
So what was this? Okay, got it. What would the money be used for?
This is currently in design PE phase, so this money is strictly for the design services.
The design services for which part? I'm just sorry, I lost it some kind of way.
Right. This is for the Chattahoochee Greenway Trail between Boundary Waters and yes. So this is in fact the project that the Riverlands project, the prior presentation, would tie into at Rock House Road, and of course the full purpose of this project is to connect the two parks with 11 miles of multi-use trail.
Right. So let me make sure I get this right. We already got award earlier to go from Boundary Waters down to Sweetwater State Park. What I'm hearing you say that this is additional funding to help extend to the other segments. Is that what I'm hearing, or setting it up?
So actually, that was the initial goal, and initially, many of the ground realities weren't made public, or the design team wasn't aware of. Along the process, we identified additional needs to complete that design process, and for that reason, we needed more money. Some of that included, of course, evaluating the ADA compliance of this trail, also some of the additional survey requirements that were put in place by GDOT, and really the scope of the project needed a lot more than what we started with.
Yep. So when you say a lot more something, I'm fine. So what will be the source of this additional 300,000?
When we submitted for this TIPS solicitation projects, we committed to a match. This was going to be funded by our Capital Transportation Fund. For that, we proposed $3 million with a $600,000 match, and we believe that's where the funding will be coming from.
All right, so stay with me. So thank you, Deputy Director. All right, so team, all right, got it. All right, so this is something that the full board did commit to. Yes, we applied for the TIPS guide. Now we got it. And we got to make our match happen. Yes, we have a capital transportation fund that gets fully used because we don't restrict the money in there. It just depends. Your name may be on the list. But unless we restrict it, it's usually just an assignment in that space. So right now, I'm hearing we need an additional $300,000 out of that bucket. He's just not joining the team now, right? Meaning, okay, guys, do we have $300,000 in there? I know we're obligated, and you've got a fund balance that by default it will come from there. But do we know? And so we're gonna need that answer before, and we just need that answer going into the full board. So I have no problem. We've already committed. We already wrote the application. We've already submitted it. So we've got to make this happen. It's just what bucket are you going to pull it from? And that's really what we got to get answered, Deputy Director. So I hear what you're saying, but it's like, okay, I'm sure we need to confirm. All right, either we got money in the Capital Transportation Fund, or by default, it's the fund balance because we owe it. We're indebted to this because we committed. We said we would do this, and you never want to get in a place where you, as they say, default. Like with the federal government, you never want to default on your obligations. We don't ever want to default on our word that we said we're going to do something. So, all right, I get what this is right now. So, but let me yield the floor to the full committee members. Y'all want to weigh in? Madam Chair, I'll start with you, or anybody if she's on.
I was gonna.
Go ahead, Madam Chair. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll start with me. Let someone else go. I think.
Yeah. Deputy or ACA, y'all make sure we reach back out to Madam CFO and have that answer for us by later, please.
Yes, I'll make sure to do that. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm okay with where we are. I mean, we're down a path. We obligated ourselves. So, as a recommendation to the full board, send it to the full board. Which says, well, they got to figure out where they're gonna fund it from. We don't have the answer right here. See right now, so it's gonna be short of a confirmation of what's the actual source, but we know the amount. But I don't want to be the holdup for moving the process along. Is there a date certain on this, Deputy Director?
No, sir. No due dates on this, but just something that we have to get board's approval on.
Yep, it slows down the process. On one hand, we're talking about we like this, but then now we got to put up against it, and we got to fill it. All right, Madam Chair, any thoughts?
I feel like your agenda is missing. I wanted, if you could just put it back up. I wanted, as I was mulling and thinking as we go through them, you could do that for me.
Yes, it's back up.
Yes. Well, Chairman of the committee, certainly this is something we could certainly take before the board. I know we've all been talking about the Greenway Trail for since I took office in 2017. It was embedded in my first 90-day state of the county, and I've been talking about the Greenway for now 7 years. So I believe there should be ample funding somewhere to pull the project, pull this project off because we are pretty healthy. So I don't have any objection moving it down to the next level or up to the next level to the Board of Commissioners.
Me neither, Madam Chair. Send it to the full board.
Yes.
Keep moving. I know it should be there. We just don't have the answers here in this meeting, but it exists, Madam Chair. So, but again, without it having it officially. So I'm okay with moving it to the next level, send it up to the full board. But again, to staff, make sure you guys, we've got the data, make sure we got the source by the time it hits the full board. All right, so is there a recommendation, Deputy Director, you need a formal recommendation?
Your camera, your mic is off, so. Very good.
Apologies.
No
Yes,
problem.
sir. A recommendation is needed, and for that, I make a motion that the committee approves or recommends the supplemental project framework agreement for Chattahoochee Greenway Trail with GDOT for full board approval.
Second.
We got a motion discussion, so let's discuss this. Was there a dollar amount associated with that? You make inside your you need to re-amend this to make sure we know we're clear on what we're saying. I get the framework, but just for the record, you need to see the dollar amount and, like you said.
Understood. Yes, sir. I make a motion to accept the supplemental project framework agreement with GDOT in relation to the Chattahoochee Greenway Trail in the amount of $3 million with a local match of $600,000 for full board approval.
Keith,
Second. Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Now we're into discussion. Any further discussion, guys? We'll just send it to the full board. All right, so we'll go around the room again for the record, just to codify by name since we are the Zoom. Kelly Robinson votes yes.
Ramona Jackson Jones votes yes.
Tiffany Stewart Stanley, yes.
Suleiman Rana, yes.
Ron Roberts, yes.
Keith Cowart, yes.
We get Deputy, if he stepped up, it's okay. We still got unanimous. Is he still here?
No, another meeting.
That's okay. That's fine. We still have a quorum, and we still have unanimous passage of this adoption of this resolution to send to the full board of commissioners for $3 million and a supplement of $600,000. Got it. Next item, Deputy.
That was all we had for this agenda, sir.
All right. That was pretty full agenda. I think we worked through it. Let me just pause for just one more thing before we go around the room. So, again, as we anticipate SPLOS project, let me just think on transportation just for a minute. So, Deputy Director, we're completing the 2016 SPLOS here as relates to funding. I know we have cash on the books in essence, but are you okay with, as things are progressing so far, the projects that are currently on the books?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The ongoing projects are moving at an acceptable pace, and whatever was left on that list to be delivered, we're spearheading all those projects and making sure they're in motion.
All right, sounds good. Second question is Lee Roads, not Lee Roads, excuse me, I'll take that back. Fairham Road, Spine Road for the trails. How are we doing with that project?
Yes, sir. That project is in design process. We anticipate the design completion by end of next month. And once the final construction plans are accepted, we will be applying for GDOT encroachment permit. So on that project, we're on schedule, and we're anticipating some major progress in the upcoming month.
So are you working with the, I know Economic Development has a program manager or owner's rep involved. Are we in sync with them at all? I mean, are you in communication with them at all?
Yes, sir. We've had a coordination with the individual stakeholders involved. I know the Development Authority was looking for a project manager or a program manager for this. We've shared our information, and we're willing to, coordinate as needed. So far, we've just provided the information they needed from us and haven't heard back.
Do you say within a month? I'm just going back to the timeline that says now you inherited this, so we're not holding you to it. We're just making you understand what it is. So based on what you're saying, since we're still in design phase and we're getting with the permitting process, how far are we out from actual construction letting, and how long will this process take in your mind?
Yes, sir. Sir, as far as the design process goes, other than the plans in itself, we anticipate the full design phase to be wrapped up by June. From that point, once we have all the permits necessary and a complete set of plans, we can advertise this. We anticipate about a month for advertisement and another month for finalization of that contract. From their point onwards, construction of project of this scale could take 6 to 9 months. Of course, if there are any incentives involved with the construction process, that could definitely pull the schedule or tighten the schedule if needed, but that's where we are.
Okay, so I heard all the way out to August for the design, the let process. So we're into what, a year from there is August of 2024? Will we be done by August? I think, and I'm not certain what our contract says that we're supposed to hit an 18-month window. I just forgot right now, but at some other time we can reconcile this offline. I'd like to reconcile what you understand the current timeline is today versus what the board commissioners have committed to by saying that that road would be in by 18 months because it was a condition of our contract, our overall MOU, that whole development. So
Right.
we'll take that offline and we'll reconcile that, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, anybody else got any questions before I give Madam Chair the last moment?
I have a question. This is Catherine.
Okay, wait, we've got, do we have a citizen out here?
Yeah, you told me to log in.
Okay, we've got a citizen. Oh, y'all didn't tell me we had a citizen for public comment. It is allowed for public comment. Madam Chair, before you get the last word, we're in the last meeting. We did have a citizen that wanted to speak in our committee. And ma'am, you have 3 minutes, which you're allowed to speak, obviously accordingly. And then we'll go from there. So, but you have not questioning us. Make your comments made known. And if there's some questions to staff, we'll take that up accordingly. But you will have 3 minutes to speak your heart. All right, the floor is yours. And as I say who your name is and what your address is and your interest in today's committee.
Okay, my name is Catherine Crane. I represent the landowner at 2582 Bomar Road, which is in the path of the future Bomar Road connector. She is unavailable today, so she just wanted me to come on and just kind of, I guess, let you guys know that she has this property up for sale, and we are trying to get an idea of timeline regarding the grant funds that were awarded. And I know about the Spine Road, I know about the development off of 92, and I'm just trying to get a realistic time frame for her regarding when the drawings could be done for the Lee Road extension that takes it all the way to Bomar. That's why I'm here. And I don't know if you answer, but that's kind of where I am.
Anything else you want to add? I mean, you got another minute, so really.
Well, I guess I just want to say that she, her name is Paula Hull, and she wants to work with the county or whoever, is the DOT or Development Authority or whoever needs to work with her regarding her property and, how that's going to work as far as the road coming through there. So she's just open to learning how to work with the county in the best way.
I got you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
That's all. Please turn your mic and I'll take it from there. Thank you so much. Again, I am obviously represent my citizens importantly. Obviously, this is not a forum for negotiation, and staff will take that offline. But there are certain public things that are available, such as currently we're working on the widening of Lee Road. So let's start with that. Before I can get to an extension, I've got to complete the. So in your mind, Deputy Director Rana, it is a public record. Where do you think we are on the widening of Lee Road? When do we think that project will be done? To start with that.
Yes, sir. The current status of that project is grading is underway and utility relocations are underway. So currently we're coordinating with the utility companies and making sure that the site for construction of roadway pavement is clear as the project progresses. Now there were some anticipated delays in this project because of weather and because of some of the labor shortage that the utility companies have suffered from. So we're anticipating a little extension that they potentially will ask for down the road, but currently that's where the project status is.
Okay. But I'm going to ask you, when you anticipate that it will be complete?
I anticipate with the delays that I've seen so far, I think it would be done by summer of 2024.
Right, summer of 2024. All right, fair enough. So let's start that with just as a baseline. That's just one part of the project. Now, that's the widening. That's down from I-20 all the way down to Fairburn Road. Now, the extension is going from there over to Bomar. Again, we can't get into civil matters as it relates to negotiations. That's inappropriate and not proper in this type of forum. But nonetheless, there are public records as it relates to grant funding. Suleiman, do we get grant funding associated with, or Tiffany could probably, Madam ACA can answer that. What type of funding did we get for extension parcels and all that? That is available, that is public. Well, how much did we get and where do we think as far as getting to the next phase from Lee Road over to Bomar? What is the time horizon in your mind? How long would that take?
Yes, sir. So we were awarded $5 million for Lee Road extension. This was announced very recently, and currently we don't have a framework agreement in place, and that's something we're working with GDOT on. Once that's finalized, we will be able to share more details, but currently we're doing an intra-government agreement with them that we're working back and forth on. So I would be hesitant to put dates on that one, but a project of this size in general terms would take about 3 years of design in general, about a year for right-of-way acquisition, and then 24 or 2 years for full construction.
3 years, so 3 years total with both of those inside, right away and design.
So 3 years for design and 1 year for right-of-way, and then 2 years for construction.
3-1. Got it, 3-1-2. Got it. All right, that's all we can say on that matter. If you've got any questions from our public, please contact the Deputy Director of Transportation. He should be able to take that accordingly and build you from there. That's all I can do in this particular forum. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chair, you get the last word on this before we close this out, because I know we need to take a break for our last meeting tonight on the floor.
Oh, absolutely. Very productive meeting again. Thank you, Chairman of the committee. I just had one question for Deputy Director Rana regarding the LMIG 2023 researching. Has that list been made available yet to the public, or have you had an opportunity to work with each district commissioner to compose a list yet?
Yes, Madam Chair. Are you referring to 2023?
Yes.
Yes, so yes, that list is actually public, and we've worked with the district commissioners. We've publicized that through our committee and BOC meetings, and we have we're currently going through an RFQ process on that, and the contract hasn't been awarded yet, but that's where we are on that.
Okay, because I was just looking at the agenda, LMIG 2022 resurfacing.
Right.
I believe that update was by Director Howard. And that just kind of sparked my interest about the 2023 LMIG.
Yes, ma'am.
It's out, ma'am. I can send it to you if you like it.
Okay. So is public, or what is it? Director Howard?
The list is certainly public at this point.
Yes, okay. So the citizens could just, when they want to take a look, see where
Yes,
the
ma'am, and
streets
I'd be
fall.
happy to send you a copy for your record.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Chairman of the committee.
Yes, no, Madam Chair, but to your point, the list from last time and this time are totally different.
Yeah.
There's no SPOS dollars associated with it to amplify.
Yeah.
It's a much smaller list, which is why it's probably pretty much gone. Okay, it's whatever they say. It's not the same impact. Because again, we pulled forward the last year of the SPOS, we pulled forward to the prior year. So there's no amplification from the SPOS. So this is just our normal LMIG that we get from the state. It's very small. And so the list is just not, to your point, it's not as extensive as it normally is. But guys, make sure Madam Chair gets that accordingly, just as a reminder. Just to that point, and to that point, we'll keep it going.
Okay.
All right.
Just wanted to set the public's expectations. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I yield back to you, Chairman.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Douglas County Committee, if there's nothing else that needs to come before there's Transportation Committee of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, which is today, February 21st, 2023, let this meeting stand.